Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? So we're going to be talking about guildfest today, and of course, as you guys all probably heard, they now have a master gauntlet. So this is now a thing. Anybody to everybody in the expert gauntlet now can be moved up if they are in the top 3. So now you got a challenge. You need to be getting to the master gauntlet. Obviously, the master gauntlet is going to have bigger quests and better rewards. Now, I really don't know what those rewards are, so you'll have to look for those that do. But obviously, that's really exciting. Now, of course, I'm an advanced gauntlet in my guild at the moment, so we're not even anywhere near expert yet. But that just means that the few of you out there now that are in expert gauntlet, you now have a shot at the master gauntlet. So obviously, you know, for anybody to everybody that's trying to get to the master gauntlet, right? The one thing I recommend you do, and this is going to go for almost anybody, is that you're going to have to do 200 plus point quests, which means that if you haven't saved speeds and you're not doing quests like hell of it, I mean, as weird as that may even sound, the best winning guilds that I know of that are doing well in those departments are usually pay-to-win guilds, all right? Then there are the guilds that are, you know, if they run into these spots, they got to pay to get through all those efforts that they go through. Now, I recommend that if you're doing that, it's probably not the best option, but if you're trying to get ahead in Guildfest and you're trying to score really, really high points, hell events are hard as hell to do. And really, it's you almost kind of need to think that, you know, for every 600,000 points, that's roughly 15 to 20 days on a good marginal win. And most people just can't manage that. So be kind of mindful of the kind of quests you're doing. Obviously, you know, if you're out there and you're doing the expert gauntlet, obviously you guys should take the minimum, all right, which is kind of the, you know, take the tier of the actual, you know, and so in case you're wondering, where am I getting this? Basically, you want to go down here. You want to take what the total amount of points is necessary, okay, and give yourself about 30%. That's 30% of 86,000, basically. So in this case, 86,000, and then you take 0.36. You need to get at least 30,960 divided by, yeah, so basically you add that to 86,000 from your total, and then divide that by the total number of people, which would be like 100, which means that like each person in your guild should be able to do around 1,200 points if you want to be able to succeed. And I say that because ultimately a lot of the people that are doing really well in Expert Gauntlet or even in Advanced Gauntlet, a lot of the people I know, if they're giving themselves anywhere between a 10 to 30% margin for error. And that's only so that, you know, they go well beyond what's expected and that they are competing at the very top. Now, I say that because I really think that if you take that divided by the total number of quests, which would be like 9 in some cases, or 10, or now potentially even 11. Okay, even at 9, that means you got to be doing at least 130 or so points a quest. But even in that situation, all right, at 9 quests, you know, that's not too bad. But if, let's suppose you divide it by 10, now it becomes 116, which again is not too bad. Now you know 11 is even a possibility. And even at 11, that's only 106. So it gets easier the more quest attempts you get. Now, interestingly enough, obviously, if you guys have, you know, ever noticed a story, you've probably heard that the actual Gargantua has basically, and obviously, I point this out, right, because, yeah, obviously the Gargantua tag's gone, but the one thing that I would say is the one benefit of having Gargantua is that it basically gives you another quest attempt, which, you know, obviously when you pay 1,000 gems at the end of your 7 quest attempts, or 8, you know, 8, 9, 10, whatever the heck you're at, you know, obviously down the road as the gauntlets are, you know, added, which in this case now we have Master Gauntlet, you know, there's no telling if they'll add more, but the one thing I will say though is that you basically need to take the total number of points, divide that by the number of people you have participating, and make that the bare minimum. Because by doing that, you basically set a standard for everybody in the guild to pick quests on. So in that case, I mean, really, based on that, according to that anyway, you should really only be doing 140 to 150 plus quests every single time you get a quest by that logic, because that's really the bare minimum that you should be meeting. Obviously, you can do a hell of a lot more than that. Like, I met plenty of people who have done 200 plus point quests all the way through and have ended up with like 15, 17, or even 1,800 points at the very end of it. And that is where you will see people shine, is the guilds that are going out there and they are doing top level, top notch point scores. That is really where you're going to see the most and absolute most benefit that you could see for your guild. Now, obviously, if you're a guild leader out there and you are trying to get your guild rally behind this kind of mindset of trying to make a bare minimum, the one thing I do recommend, and this is in my experience, the best way to kind of convince a group of people to really kind of work their way up is that you got to inform everybody in advance before Guildfest even begins that this is the standard that they have to meet. And obviously, I recommend that if you are trying to educate your members on how to do this, again, like I said, you need to be able to save speed ups in advance. You need to be able to save your gems. And a lot of the time, the people that are doing this and are well able to do it in a good tier are probably spending, but not all of them are. And some of the people that I know of that are doing really, really well are just the ones that are saving the gems and saving the speeds that they've had. And they're using them to benefit themselves in Guildfest, where their guild really needs it most. Because obviously, the more you do and the more your guild succeeds, the better chances you are to go into the next gauntlet. And the higher gauntlet you get means the more rewards you get per Guildfest. And obviously, some of these rewards here are really darn good. I mean, really, you can actually add quite a bit of chests for those of you out there that are free to play. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities to get things that you usually wouldn't get as a free-to-play in here. If you're a pay-to-win, this is it's okay. But even still, it's extra stuff that you're doing while doing the event. So don't neglect the event. Obviously, out there, for those of you out there that are just kind of starting new or just haven't explored Guildfest in the past, obviously you got to have a certain number of members to be able to do Guildfest. But when you do, just make sure that you let everybody else know. Share the video. Let everybody else know that, you know, at the end of the day, guys, you got to be able to meet those minimums in order to do well. And if you don't, then you're going to have time. You're going to basically not do so well in Guildfest. And that's not something you want to have happen, especially because, well, I mean, if anything, one of the few things that I kind of use as a good determination of a really good leadership in a guild is you got to be able to get everybody motivated to do something like this. Because the only way you really can do an event like this and do it well, you got to be able to set these standards. You got to be able to let everyone know in advance. And that is my opinion on that. But obviously, you know, if you know what you're doing, and you've got everything in preparation for these kind of events when they come out, then you're good to go. But needless to say, that's pretty much my 2 cents on Guildfest. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Check out these other videos, and leave a comment below what I should do for the next video, and I'll see you guys next time.